Lily had always loved old houses. When she moved into her new home, she was thrilled by its character and the sense of history that lingered in the air. High ceilings, ornate crown moldings, and creaky wooden floors filled each room, making it feel like a place from a different time. It was perfect, or so she thought. It started on her first night in the house. As she lay in bed, drifting off to sleep, she heard faint footsteps coming from downstairs. Her first thought was that it was just the old floorboards settling. She brushed it off as the house adjusting to the cool of the night and went back to sleep. But as the nights passed, the footsteps became a regular occurrence. They started softly, like someone cautiously stepping through the house, and they grew louder with each passing night. Sometimes they sounded like they were moving through the hallway, other times near the living room, and occasionally they seemed to come from right outside her bedroom door. Lily began to feel uneasy. She tried to rationalize it, telling herself that old houses made strange noises. But something about these footsteps felt purposeful, as if someone was indeed moving around her house, careful not to wake her, but careless enough to make their presence known. One particularly cold and quiet night, the footsteps started up again. This time, they were louder than ever, and she could clearly tell they were moving up the stairs. Her heart pounded in her chest as she lay perfectly still, clutching her blankets. The steps creaked slowly, one by one, as if whoever or whatever it was wanted her to hear every single step. Lily sat up, her ears straining to catch every sound. The footsteps reached the landing outside her bedroom door, then stopped. She held her breath, waiting, hoping it was just her imagination. But then, a soft knock echoed through the silence. She didn't know what to do. Her mind raced, half convinced she was dreaming, half terrified of what she might find if she opened the door. After a long, tense silence, she gathered her courage, crept out of bed, and tiptoed to the door. She placed her hand on the doorknob, took a deep breath, and yanked it open. The hallway was empty. Lily felt a chill run down her spine. She closed the door and locked it, trying to convince herself it was just a figment of her imagination. But sleep didn't come easily that night. The next day, she did some research. She spent hours online, searching for any information she could find about the house. The previous owner, she discovered, was an elderly man named Mr. Carmichael. He had lived there alone until his mysterious disappearance a few years ago. No one knew what had happened to him, but locals believed he had died in the house, and his spirit had never left. Lily tried to brush off these rumors as mere superstition. But the more she read, the more uneasy she felt. She could almost feel a presence in the house, as if someone were watching her, following her every move. She began to notice small things, doors that would creak open by themselves, lights that would flicker, and the constant feeling of being watched. That night, as she lay in bed, the footsteps returned. This time, they started in the basement, the sound muffled and distant. She tried to ignore it, but the footsteps grew louder, climbing up the stairs. Moving down the hallway toward her room, her heart raced, and she felt a cold sweat break out across her skin. The footsteps stopped outside her door again. Then, to her horror, she heard a voice, low, barely a whisper, but close enough that she could feel its cold breath. "I've always been here." Lily froze, her blood running cold. She couldn't tell if the voice was inside her head or if it had come from outside her door, but the fear was real. She buried herself under the blankets, clinging to the faint hope that morning would come soon and bring relief from the terror.